You might be someone who has a ton of knowledge and experience and expertise in their brain, but for whatever reason, it hasn't come out in the form of content. In this video, I want to share with you the ARC framework. This is a framework that any business owner can use to start creating content for their business. So let's break it down. When it comes to the ARC method, it is an acronym, which I love, and the A stands for activity. Activity is the people you see, the people you interact with, the people you serve, the people you meet, the places you go, the places you work, the places you go on vacation, places you frequent, and of course the things that you do, the things you create, the things that you consume, watch, read. If you just take a moment to think about all the activity that you have in your life, you will realize that you are not a boring person. In fact, you're probably someone who's doing quite a bit. This is the foundation that we can use to start creating content. Let me give you this analogy to help you better understand this phase of activity. I like to use two extremes. On one hand, you have someone who has absolutely no activity. They live in a white box, kind of like the Matrix. They don't talk to anyone. They don't do anything. They don't eat anything. They literally are just existing in a box. On the other extreme, you have someone who's awake 24/7. They don't sleep. They're constantly doing and going and seeing. They have all of this activity going 24/7. With those two extremes, who do you think is going to have more to talk about? Of course, it's the person who is awake 24/7 versus a person who does absolutely nothing. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to be this person who has an extravagant lifestyle and is doing all these crazy, amazing things. The point here is the more activity that you have in your life, the easier it becomes for step number 2. Step number 2 in the R in the ARC framework is reflection. Reflection is exactly that, taking the time to reflect and meditate and think about all the activity that you have in your life. And when you do this right, reflection will give birth to the thoughts, observations, feelings, beliefs, hypotheses, conclusions, opinions, results, frameworks, systems, and strategies, especially if you're an expert. So it's important to have time to reflect on the activity. You could do this with journaling if you journal in a notebook or on an app. And sometimes I'll video journal, which I turn on the camera and I just speak. This gives me an opportunity to kind of think and reflect on all the different things that I've consumed and learned over the past days and weeks. One thing to remember here, just because you have a lot of activity in your life doesn't mean that you set aside ample time to reflect on it and organize all of that activity into those thoughts, opinions, beliefs, conclusions, all of that stuff. When you do that the right way, that's what's going to give birth to step number 3. And step number 3 is creation. So you take all of these things here and you organize them into different ideas that now you have the raw material to create content in one of these 3 mediums, which is either text, audio, or video. And there's several platforms that support at least one, if not all of these mediums. And what I love about this ARC framework is that once you get it started, it actually creates a cycle. The more activity you have, the more that you will reflect, inform all of these different things, which give you ideas for content. And when you create that content, you also are organizing most of these things, and you have new activity and new people you're interacting with in the comments and talking to and speaking with and creating, which also gives you more to reflect on, which then gives you more ideas for content. So this is a system that builds momentum and allows you to really have a strong method for creating content as a business owner or expert, just by doing the normal things that you do in your own life. And you might be saying, that's great, but I don't even have time to reflect or to create content. If that's you, then you definitely need to watch this video right here, where I show you exactly how you can create 40 to 50 pieces of content in just 1 hour simply by answering a few questions. If you found value out of this video, I appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up, subscribe for more content like this, and I will see you in the next video.